In this world, filled with noise and bustle, there is only one place where you can find yourself, and it is far from people, yet close to you. This video is based on Nietzsche's philosophy and will be of interest and benefit to those who are passionate about philosophy or wish to get acquainted with it. Well then, let's begin. You stand at the edge of existence, gazing into the abyss of your own solitude. The world has conditioned you to believe that loneliness is a wound, a defect to be cured with fleeting affections, hollow distractions, or the desperate grasping for validation. But hear this: solitude is not your enemy. It is your forge, your crucible, the roaring fire that will either consume you or make you indestructible. The weak fear being alone because they fear hearing their own voice, stripped of pretense, shorn of illusion. They drown in noise, in meaningless chatter, in the suffocating embrace of those who do not understand them. But you are different. You do not beg for company that does not deserve you. You do not kneel before the altar of approval. You stand, alone but unbroken, as a warrior before battle. A warrior does not lament his solitude. He does not curse the battlefield for being empty of allies. He sharpens his blade. He steadies his breath. He welcomes the silence, for in it he finds clarity. Solitude is not a prison. It is a weapon, waiting to be wielded by those strong enough to grasp it. You have been deceived into believing that to be alone is to be lesser. But what is truly lesser, being whole in your solitude, or being fragmented in the arms of another? Most people fear the silence because it exposes them. You must learn to love it, to walk into it unflinching, to let it strip away the illusions, the masks, the desperate need to be understood. You do not need understanding. You do not need saving. You need only to recognize the power that lies in embracing your fate. A warrior does not cry out for comfort in the face of his trials. He does not whimper in the dark, waiting for another to bring him light. He becomes the fire. And so, I tell you this: stop lamenting. Stop seeking solace in pity. If you are alone, be alone completely. Walk into the depths of your solitude as if entering a temple, not a tomb. Find the strength in its stillness, the wisdom in its echoes. Let it refine you, harden you, mold you into something unstoppable. Because once you learn to stand alone, truly alone, nothing and no one will ever have power over you again. You were not born to be a servant to the whims of others, nor to be shackled by the ceaseless demands of those who drain your spirit and call it love. You are not placed upon this earth to barter your peace for fleeting moments of validation, nor to be a puppet in the theater of fragile egos and endless compromise. You are free, but only if you dare to claim that freedom. Look around you. See how they exhaust themselves in battles that bear no victory. How they trade their dignity for a momentary illusion of closeness. How they beg for attention, for approval, for the cold embrace of a comfort that turns to dust in their hands. They call this love, but it is not love. It is a prison built out of fear, the fear of being alone, the fear of facing oneself, the fear of standing untethered in the vastness of existence. But you are different. You do not waste your fire on arguments that lead nowhere. You do not kneel before the insatiable hunger of another's expectations. While they unravel themselves, thread by thread, desperately weaving their worth into another's gaze, you build. You create. You carve your path with steady hands, unburdened by the weight of unnecessary attachments. To be free is not to be without bonds. It is to choose them with ruthless clarity. It is to know that your time is not infinite, that your energy is sacred, that your mind is a kingdom to be ruled by none but you. Those who do not grasp this will call you cold, will call you distant, will call you selfish. Let them. Their words are the cries of the enslaved, resenting the sight of one who has broken his chains. There is no shame in choosing solitude over servitude. There is no weakness in refusing to be consumed by the demands of another's chaos. The world belongs to those who have the courage to walk alone, to those who do not fear the silence of their own sovereignty. You are the architect of your fate, the master of your time, the sovereign of your own destiny. Do not trade your kingdom for a cage. Develop inner strength. There is a place where the weak do not dare to tread. A place stripped of noise, of distraction, of the comforting illusions that shield men from themselves. It is a place of silence, of stillness, of absolute confrontation with the self. It is here that true strength is born, not in the approval of others, not in the fleeting triumphs of the external world, but in the unshakable fortress built within. Most fear this silence. They drown it in meaningless conversation, in the endless pursuit of validation, in the exhausting game of being seen, being wanted, being accepted. But you must not fear it. You must step into the abyss and let it shape you. You must let the solitude burn away your weakness. Let it strip you of every illusion, until all that remains is the raw essence of who you are. A man untested by solitude is a man untested by life. He is fragile, for he has never stood alone. He has never faced the storm without the shelter of another's presence. He has never felt the weight of existence pressing upon his shoulders with no one there to share the burden. But you will not be fragile. You will not break. You will endure, and in that endurance, you will transform. The world will try to convince you that solitude is emptiness, that to be alone is to be lacking. Do not believe them. Solitude is a furnace, and those who enter it willingly emerge as steel. It is here, in this sacred stillness, that you will carve your will into the stone of existence. It is here that you will become untouchable, unshakable, beyond the reach of petty fears and trivial desires. Let others seek comfort. Let them chase distractions. You will stand in the silence and forge yourself anew. And when you emerge, you will not need the world's approval, nor its company. You will be enough. You will be complete. You will be unbreakable. Exercise your body. Physical strength gives confidence. Your body is not merely flesh. It is your first and final battlefield. It is the vessel through which your will is tested, the weapon through which your spirit is made manifest. A weak body houses a weak mind. A sluggish frame carries a sluggish soul. Those who neglect their flesh are not masters of themselves. They are prisoners, dragged through life by their own inertia, slaves to exhaustion, to hesitation, to the quiet, creeping decay of their own neglect. Strength is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is the foundation upon which all else is built. A sharpened mind trapped in a feeble body is like a sword left to rust in its sheath. A man who cannot command his own limbs, who is ruled by fatigue, who cowers at pain and strain, how can such a man claim to be free? How can he stand unshaken against the storms of life when the mere weight of his own existence is too much for him to bear? The iron bar does not lie. The road does not bend to your excuses. The weight does not care for your feelings. The body, like the spirit, is forged through struggle. Every drop of sweat is a declaration of defiance. Every strained breath is a challenge hurled into the face of weakness. You do not train to impress, to parade your strength before the blind masses. You train because your flesh must be as unyielding as your mind, because your body must be a reflection of your discipline, your will, your refusal to be anything less than formidable. Look at those who allow their bodies to wither, who surrender to indulgence, who treat their form as an afterthought. They are slow, hesitant, filled with quiet resignation. They shrink from adversity, not because their spirit is unwilling, but because their flesh is incapable. You will not be like them. You will carve yourself out of stone, sculpt your frame into a monument of unbreakable will. Every muscle hardened, every movement precise, every ounce of excess burned away in the fire of exertion. A strong body does not guarantee a strong mind, but a weak body is a cage for the spirit. Free yourself. Train without mercy. Push without hesitation. Demand from your flesh the same unyielding resolve you demand from your soul. The world is not kind to the frail. So be strong. Be relentless. Be undeniable. Learn to be silent. Words are chains. They bind men to illusions, to the expectations of others, to the ceaseless noise of a world terrified of silence. Look around you, everywhere. People speak, chatter, fill the air with meaningless sounds, as if the absence of noise would reveal something too terrible for them to face. They fear silence because silence exposes. It strips away the borrowed thoughts, the rehearsed opinions, the fragile identities built on the echoes of others. But you must not fear it. You must master it. To be silent is not to be passive. It is not to be absent. It is to become a vessel of pure awareness, to strip yourself of the need to prove, to explain, to be understood. When you cease the endless spilling of words, you begin to hear, not just the world, but yourself. And that is what most men cannot bear. They fill the void with noise because they do not want to confront what lurks in the depths of their own minds. They would rather drown in distraction than stand alone with their own thoughts. But you are not like them. You will learn to embrace the silence, to wield it as a weapon, to make it your ally. When you speak only when necessary, your words become weighty, undeniable. A man who is comfortable in silence is a man who cannot be easily manipulated, for he does not seek validation in conversation. He does not blurt out his thoughts in desperation. He holds them, sharpens them, and releases them only when they strike with precision. Silence is the domain of the strong. Those who do not fear it are those who have confronted themselves in its depths and emerged unshaken. In the absence of noise, your mind becomes a fortress, your spirit a blade honed to perfection. You begin to see with clarity, to act with purpose, to exist with an intensity that mere words could never capture. Let others talk. Let them fill the air with their restless voices, their insecurities disguised as opinions. You will remain still, listening, observing, sharpening your mind in the quiet. And when you do speak, the world will listen, not because your voice is loud, but because your silence has made it powerful. Go where it's scary. There exists a place beyond comfort, beyond certainty, beyond the fragile walls you have built around yourself. A place where the ground beneath you is unknown, where each step carries the weight of the unknown. It is there, standing at the edge of your own fear, that you will finally come to know who you are. Fear is not your enemy. It is your master if you bow before it, but your greatest teacher if you dare to face it. Most live their lives in retreat, shrinking from what unsettles them, avoiding what challenges them, constructing a prison of routine and predictability. They do not live, they endure. But you must not be like them. You must seek out what unsettles you, chase the very thing that makes your heart pound. Throw yourself into the unknown like a flame into the wind. Go where you are afraid to go. Walk alone through cities where no one knows your name. Stand at the edge of the world and let the vastness of existence swallow you whole. Break yourself against the walls of your own limitations and emerge on the other side, changed, sharpened, unrecognizable to the weak thing you once were. Cowards dream of transformation but never step into the fire. They speak of adventure but remain chained to the familiar. They worship safety, not realizing that safety is a slow death. You will not make the same mistake. You will walk into uncertainty, not because you are fearless, but because you understand that only in fear does true growth occur. If a path terrifies you, it is the path you must take. If a choice unsettles you, it is the choice that will set you free. The walls around you are not real. They exist only in your mind. Break them. Walk through them. And on the other side, you will find not just a new world, but a new self. You are not meant to live a small life, wrapped in comfort, caged by hesitation. You are meant to stand at the edge of the abyss and step forward, unflinching. The weak seek shelter. The strong seek the storm. Be the storm. Learn to enjoy your own company. There is no greater tragedy than a man who cannot stand to be alone. A man who flees from solitude as if it were a curse, who surrounds himself with noise, with people, with distractions. Not out of love, but out of fear. Fear of silence. Fear of self-reflection. Fear of the void within him that he refuses to face. But you must not be like them. You must learn to revel in your own presence, to sit in the quiet and feel nothing but power. If you cannot enjoy your own company, it is not solitude that is unbearable, it is you. A mind that is dull, undisciplined, restless, desperate for escape. This is the true prison. And those who suffer in their own presence are not free, they are captives of their own emptiness. To master solitude is to master the self. It is to become a mind so rich, a spirit so fierce, that being alone is not a punishment but a privilege. When you no longer seek company out of necessity, but only out of desire, you become untouchable. You are no longer a beggar at the table of social approval, you are the feast. You do not need others to entertain you, to distract you, to validate you, you are enough. And here lies the great paradox. The man who is content in his own company is the man others are drawn to. He does not chase. He does not plead for attention. He walks through the world with the quiet confidence of one who has nothing to prove, and for that very reason, the world follows him. Those who are comfortable in their own solitude command a presence greater than those who depend on others for their sense of worth. You must cultivate this power. Read relentlessly. Think deeply. Pursue mastery in every endeavor. Turn your mind into an empire so vast that no moment alone is wasted. Let your thoughts entertain you more than idle conversation. Your ambitions drive you more than fleeting companionship. Become the kind of person with whom even you cannot grow bored. And when the world comes knocking, when others seek your presence, you will know it is not because you need them, but because they need you. You have become rare. You have become whole. You have become free. Find a purpose that's bigger than you. A man without a purpose is a leaf in the wind, drifting aimlessly, carried by the whims of others, enslaved by fleeting desires. He seeks validation in love, in approval, in temporary pleasures, believing that happiness lies in the embrace of another. But happiness is a beggar's dream. It is a fragile illusion that crumbles under the weight of time. A man does not live for happiness. He lives for purpose. You are not born to chase. Not love, not comfort, not the approval of the many. You are born to create, to build, to carve your name into the stone of existence. And yet, most waste their days in pursuit of the trivial, their minds consumed by the petty dramas of relationships, their ambitions sacrificed at the altar of belonging. They trade eternity for momentary warmth, not realizing that no embrace will ever fill the void of an unfulfilled destiny. The great men of history, the ones who shaped the world, who bent reality to their will, do you think they spent their days yearning for companionship? No. They were consumed by something greater, something vast, something that demanded their entire being. They did not beg for love, they built empires. They did not seek affection, they sought immortality. You must do the same. Find the force that will drive you beyond yourself, the goal that will shatter your limitations, the pursuit that will make your existence undeniable. Let your purpose consume you like fire. Let it forge you into something unbreakable. When you have a mission that towers over you, distractions fall away. The petty desires of the weak no longer touch you. You do not have time to entertain mediocrity when your eyes are fixed on eternity. And here is the great irony. When you no longer chase, the world follows. When you are consumed by purpose, others are drawn to you, not because you need them, but because they sense the power of a man who walks his own path. Love, admiration, companionship, they become the byproducts of a life devoted to something greater. So do not waste yourself in the pursuit of what is fleeting. Build something that will outlive you. Create something that will echo through time. Be so consumed by your purpose that the world has no choice but to remember your name. Stop looking for meaning in other people's eyes. There are those who live for the gaze of others, seeking approval, longing for validation, measuring their worth by the reflections they see in the eyes of the crowd. They believe that without an audience, their life is insignificant, their triumphs hollow. But this is the trap of the weak. To live for the eyes of others is to live as a shadow of yourself, to surrender your truth to the opinions of those who cannot even begin to understand you. Your path is not for them. It never was. You do not need a cheering crowd, not even a single pair of eyes, to affirm the worth of your journey. The pursuit of meaning is not a spectacle to be shared, a story to be told to an audience. It is an intimate, internal experience that can never be truly understood by another. To search for meaning in the eyes of others is to surrender your power to the fickle and fleeting judgments of the external world. You are not a performer. You are a creator, a force whose value is not determined by applause, but by the quiet, unshakable certainty of your own knowing. The greatest accomplishments in history were not crafted for others to see. They were forged in solitude, in silence, in the relentless pursuit of something greater than the fleeting need for admiration. True greatness is hidden. It does not need to be witnessed to be real. It does not need to be approved to be meaningful. It is known only to the one who walks the path, who moves forward with conviction, whose every step is a testament to a purpose that has nothing to do with the praise of others. You must free yourself from the prison of other people's expectations. Their judgments are irrelevant. Their understanding is shallow. The only thing that matters is the truth you carry within you, the purpose that burns in your heart and guides your every action. When you no longer need the validation of others, when you no longer seek the approval of the crowd, you reclaim your power. You reclaim your life. The world will try to make you believe that you need to be seen to be valuable. It will tell you that your worth is measured by the recognition you receive. But you must not fall for this lie. Your worth is inherent. It is not determined by the eyes that fall upon you, but by the strength of your own resolve, by the clarity of your own vision. Walk your path in silence. Let your journey be yours alone. The world does not need to see it for it to be meaningful. The greatest triumphs are often the most unseen. Avoid idle talk. Words are currency in a world addicted to noise. Yet, too many squander them in the marketplace of empty chatter, trading their essence for the fleeting illusion of connection. They speak without purpose, without weight, and in doing so, they diminish themselves. But you are not like them. You understand the sacred power of silence. You know that true strength lies not in the volume of your voice, but in the precision of your words. To speak is not to fill the void with sound, but to carve meaning into the fabric of existence. Every word you utter must be chosen with the care of a sculptor shaping marble. If your words are numerous but lack substance, they are as dust in the wind, forgotten before they can even settle. But when you speak with intention, when you choose your words like a master craftsman selecting his tools, you create something that cannot be ignored. Those who speak without thinking are like those who throw stones into the sea. No trace remains. But those who speak with purpose build monuments with their words, monuments that stand long after their voices have faded. The ones who say little but with power are the ones who shape the world. People do not respect those who talk incessantly. They respect those who speak rarely, but with clarity and force, whose words linger in the mind long after they have been spoken. You must not be afraid of silence. It is not a weakness to hold your tongue when there is nothing of value to say. It is a strength. The wise know that speaking less grants them more power. When you speak, let it be a declaration, not a ramble. Let your words strike like a hammer, leaving their mark. The world respects those who do not fill the air with meaningless noise. It respects the quiet ones, the ones who listen, who observe, and who, when they speak, command attention. These are the ones who are never ignored, for their words are rare, and in their rarity lies their power. So, choose your words with care. Let each one matter. Let each one carry the weight of your soul. Speak only when you have something profound to say, and when you do, let the world listen. Solitude is a discipline. Solitude is not for the weak. It is not for the idle. To embrace solitude is to embrace a discipline so fierce, so unrelenting, that it cuts away everything unnecessary in your life. It is a crucible that demands strength, focus, and relentless self-mastery. Without discipline, solitude will become your prison, not your liberation. It will eat away at you, gnawing at your will, until you are reduced to nothing but an empty shell, drifting through time without purpose. In solitude, you are forced to confront yourself. You cannot hide behind the distractions of the world, the masks of society, the false comforts of companionship. You stand naked before your own mind, and if you are not strong, you will wither. Without the discipline to rise each day with purpose, to pursue greatness even in the absence of others, solitude becomes your enemy. It becomes the darkness that swallows you whole, the slow erosion of your spirit. To survive solitude is to master it. You must not allow it to slip into decay. It is so easy to fall into complacency when no one is watching, when no one expects anything from you. But it is in those moments, in the silence of your own company, that your true nature is revealed. Will you rise? Or will you sink into the mud of your own apathy? Discipline is the bridge between freedom and stagnation. It is the force that keeps you moving, keeps you growing, even when no one is there to push you. In solitude, you must push yourself. You must become your own motivator, your own coach, your own master. Without this inner drive, solitude will become a breeding ground for laziness, for self-pity, for mediocrity. The greatest minds in history were not born in the company of others. They were forged in the fires of solitude, but they did not let that solitude consume them. They worked, they created, they disciplined themselves when no one was watching. They understood that true greatness is not achieved in the company of others, but in the quiet moments when the world is silent, and only your discipline stands between you and the abyss of decay. So, take charge of your solitude. Let it be your arena, your battlefield. Let it sharpen you, refine you, and mold you into something unbreakable. Without discipline, solitude will defeat you. With it, you will rise. Be unpredictable to yourself. There is a quiet prison we all live in, built not by bars, but by routine. We wake up, we go to work, we follow the same paths, we live the same days, and slowly, imperceptibly, we become locked in a cycle of predictability. We know our every move, our every thought, and in that knowledge we die. You are not meant to be a machine, moving through life on automatic, repeating the motions until your spirit decays. You are meant to be a force of nature, unpredictable, untamed, always challenging the limits of who you are. The greatest danger lies not in failure, but in stagnation. It is in the comfort of the known, the safety of routine, that life begins to wither. And so, you must break free. You must refuse to be predictable, even to yourself. Change your routes. Take detours. Walk in places you have never been. Try things you have never dared to. Do things that make your heart race, that make your mind question, that shake you to your core. The world is full of people who live in the same small world, day after day, thinking they are safe. But safety is the enemy of greatness. It is only when you venture into the unknown, when you step into the chaos of unpredictability, that you begin to truly live. To be predictable is to be dead. To be unpredictable, to throw aside the comfort of the familiar, is to embrace life in its rawest, most vibrant form. There is no growth in the known. You must walk into the unknown, not as a passive observer, but as a conqueror. Break the patterns. Challenge your own expectations. Do not wait for the world to surprise you. Surprise yourself. The moment you stop predicting your next step is the moment you truly begin to live. Be the storm in your own life. Disrupt your own peace. Wake up and do something unexpected. Break the chains that bind you to the same old patterns. And in doing so, you will discover the freedom that lies beyond the prison of predictability. When you can surprise yourself, when you become the agent of your own transformation, you become a force that cannot be ignored. Avoid complaining and whining. There are those who live their lives as victims of circumstance, their voices constantly filled with the bitter taste of complaint. They seek sympathy. They yearn for someone to lift them from their misery, believing that the world owes them a rescue. But this is the path of weakness. This is the way of those who surrender their power to the whims of fate, who wait for salvation from the very forces that keep them in chains. You are not a victim. You are not a helpless soul waiting for a savior. There is no one coming to rescue you from the storms of life. No divine hand will descend to lift you from the mud. You must become your own hero. You must take up the mantle of your own salvation and refuse to wait for external forces to change your fate. To complain is to surrender. To whine is to relinquish your power and place it in the hands of others. It is a declaration that you are helpless, that you are a slave to your circumstances. But you are not a slave. You are a master of your thoughts, your actions, and your destiny. The moment you stop seeking pity is the moment you reclaim your strength. Do not waste your breath on complaints. They are the poison that weakens your spirit. They are the chains that keep you bound to a life of mediocrity. Instead, take control. Rise above your challenges. Become the hero of your own story, the mentor who guides you through the darkness, the savior who leads you to victory. The world does not owe you anything. It does not care about your struggles. But you are not here to beg for sympathy. You are here to conquer, to rise above the chaos and carve your own path. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to become stronger, to become the person you were always meant to be. You are the one you have been waiting for. There is no one coming to save you because you are the savior. You are the hero, the teacher, the warrior. Those who wait for others to fight their battles will be left behind. But those who stand up and take charge will carve their name into the annals of history. Create something that lasts. What is the point of life if it fades into oblivion, never to be remembered, never to leave a trace? The world is a vast, indifferent expanse, and most are content to drift through it, leaving no mark on the sands of time. But you are not like most. Your life is not meant to be a fleeting shadow, vanishing with the sunset. You are not meant to disappear into the void of forgotten souls. You are meant to create something that will echo through the ages, something that will endure long after your body is dust. Create a painting that will hang in galleries for centuries. Write a book that will inspire generations. Build a business, a project, a legacy that will continue to grow, to thrive, long after you have left this world. This is not a mere ambition. It is a calling to transcend the limits of your time, to become part of something greater, something eternal. The greatest minds who have ever lived did not merely pass through existence. They left an imprint on it. The art they created, the ideas they birthed, the empires they built, these things live on, long after their bodies have decayed. Their names endure because they understood that life is not about the fleeting pleasures of the moment, but about what you leave behind. Do not live merely to exist. Do not live merely for the pleasures of today, the trivial comforts that are so easily forgotten. Live to create something timeless. Your work, your creations, should be a reflection of your soul, a testament to your unique vision of the world. What you build today will outlast you. What you leave behind will continue to shape the world long after you have gone. This is your challenge, to create not just for the moment, but for eternity. To leave a legacy that will stand as proof of your existence, your struggle, and your triumph over the fleeting nature of life. Build something that will endure through the ages. Make something that will echo through time, that will be passed down from generation to generation. Let your name be remembered, not for the things you collected or the pleasures you indulged in, but for the greatness you created. You are capable of more than mere survival. You are capable of creating something that will never die. Live so you don't regret. As you approach the final chapter of your life, you will not look back with sorrow for the love you never found, or the relationships that slipped through your fingers. No, the weight that will press upon your chest will be far heavier. The regret of never fully unveiling yourself, of never daring to step beyond the boundaries of your own limitations. You will not mourn the love you missed, but the love you never gave to yourself. The brilliance of your soul left dormant, untouched, hidden from the world and even from your own gaze. We are all born with a fire inside us, an essence that is uniquely ours. Yet how many live their lives in quiet submission to the expectations of others, to the hollow standards of society, never daring to truly unfold that fire? We walk through life wearing masks, playing roles, conforming to what we think is expected of us, and in doing so, we suffocate the very thing that makes us alive. When the end draws near and the sands of time slip through your fingers, you will not regret the moments you spent searching for love. You will regret the moments you wasted hiding your true self, the times you denied your deepest desires in fear of judgment, the times you kept your potential locked away because you were too afraid to live authentically. To live without regret is not to live for others. It is not to satisfy their expectations or to seek approval from a world that will forget you as soon as you fade from its view. To live without regret is to live for yourself. It is to strip away all the layers of pretense, all the walls you have built to protect yourself from the world, and reveal the raw, unfiltered truth of who you are. It is to embrace the power within you, to let it shine brightly and unashamedly. When you reach the end, will you look back at the life you've lived and say, "I was true to myself"? Or will you be consumed by the regret of a life half lived, of a soul never fully revealed? The greatest tragedy is not that we fail to find love, but that we fail to love ourselves enough to be fully seen, to be fully known. Do not live in the shadow of fear. Do not let the years pass by while you hide in the darkness of your own insecurity. Live boldly. Live without apology. Live so that when the end comes, you will look back not with sorrow, but with pride, knowing that you gave the world the fullest expression of who you were meant to be. As you stand at the crossroads of life, remember this: the greatest power lies not in what the world gives to you, but in what you dare to take from it. Live with purpose, create with conviction, and never shrink from the fire within you. The journey may be long, but those who walk it with courage, authenticity, and discipline carve their names into eternity. Now go forth, not as a spectator in your own life, but as the creator of your destiny. Break the chains of mediocrity, embrace the unknown, and let your legacy be one that echoes through the ages. May you live fully, without regret, and always, always be unapologetically you.